Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It is Sunday as I record this, like the 10th or something of October. On the 26th, I turned 59. Goodness gracious, how did that ever happen? The inexorable march of time. Thumbs up for that. Well, at least we're all, most of us, the ones that are still metabolizing, are still alive, and that is a good thing. I hope your weekend, no matter when you are watching this, has been good. Definitely a thumbs up on that. I slept moderately well last night, and that was a good thing. And I got to bed late. You know, life is life. And I had late walkies. Then it was raining, so I had my umbrella with me, and I just went out walkies. Got kind of wet and damp, but life is life. Thumbs up for that. But I didn't do a whole lot yesterday, and at the same time, I ended up with a full day. So I did a lot of video stuff and existed, and that's okay. Did a lot of thinking, and that's okay too. Now, it is one of the Greek philosophers, I can't remember who it was, said something that is paraphrased to, you know, a person is never as active as when they are sitting down and just thinking. And so be creative, do what you can. But, it's a connection between my nose and my lip. Remember too, that moderation in all things. You have to exercise your body as well as your mind. It's not just one or the other. I spent a long time fighting against that throughout my life, which is why I'm spending so much time now going on, you know, race walkies every night to try and stay as healthy as I can. So, which reminded me, there was somebody on Twitter who had made a statement, you know, it's like, you know, people that bodybuild, they're foolish because everything that they've done physically, you know, that's a poem they didn't memorize, a book they didn't read, something they didn't do to stretch their mind. But everything is a balance. You know, somebody had replied back with, you know, it's like, one of the ancient types had said that you do something like this, then you have the separation between the, you know, the smart ones and the dumb ones like that, and things just fall apart. And so you want to make sure that you don't just dog everybody. You have to work on your physical and your mental. So yeah, balance in all things. Yay. Past that though, of course, I do want to say if you like what you see or hear at any time, if you could engage with the YouTube algorithms, then hit the like button, that would be cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already, that would be awesome already. And of course, I want to thank each and every one of my Patreon.com patrons for having been beautiful and awesome people and helping me survive, keeping a roof over my head and my food in my belly and my pets alive. These are wonderful people and greatly, greatly appreciated to no end. So very cool, and thank you all. Now, I've been doing a whole lot of thinking, of course. I chew my teeth into things when they start to get to me. And one of them, of course, I'm still talking about the whole, I don't know what sort of name to give the setting, but it's that modern setting where there's inner and outer, and right there on the razor's edge are the people that I'm talking about. Mostly because I did a lot of creative thinking on the various types and beings who live inside. Because I've mentioned there's the western borough of the Crimson Kingdom, and then there's the up north, the domain of the Pale King, and I've been thinking about what creatures these are. Now, I've also, this is going to be kind of a wildly philosophical break, I've also been thinking on these settings about what I refer to as beings of power. That's a person or being or something that is walking a path and becoming more powerful. You know, you start off as like a person, and then, you know, we are the Gokura, the numberless, the endless, prey. And then if you manage to become actually powerful, you become Gakire. You're not one of just the masses. You are a little predator. Gakire. If you build up your power strong enough, you can become Gakiri, predator, or you can become an Gakiru, armored predator. Then, of course, up above that is the Gakira, which in our set of multiverses is one being instead of a category, and it's Amaterasu, the cosmic horror that swam to our multiverse from hers. But when you come back to all of that, there's the difference between beings of power and powerful beings. Like there is the King in Crimson of the Crimson Kingdom. This is a very odd, strange, different type of being. At the same time, it's never really going to be able to become more powerful than it is without, it'll learn skills and stuff that'll help it to become more of the being that it is. But it's like being a bear versus a human being. A bear is a powerful being, but a bear is just a bear. No matter what it does, it'll always be just a bear. The skills that it learns through its life will help it to be a better bear, but it'll always be just a bear. A human being is not a powerful thing. A bear, mano a mano, strength against strength, they'll take us apart and feast on our remains. But we can use our skills, talents, and abilities to become more than just that. You have the hunters, you have the people that can bulk up. Maybe they can't just go mano a mano, but you give them a chance to be a little bit sneaky about it, and they can take the bear down. Bare hands, just not in an arena faced off against it, but in a stealth environment, yeah, I think they could. And then you got the arts that we have, music and theater and movies. We've flown to the moon. We left our own planet to go onto our satellite. We have the abilities to become so much more, so we are beings of power. We can wield power. We'll never be a bear, but we'll surpass that bear. And that's what the King in Crimson is. It can advance itself through skills and talents that help it become more of the being that it is, but it'll never be more than just the being that it is. And in fact, it has currently reached the limits of its abilities. There's the western borough of the Crimson Kingdom, and that's where the people that I write about can butt up against that and go into it. You know, there's a border, there's border crossings, but, you know, it's fine, you can go in. It's not like the King in Crimson is evil, but it's having to learn to delegate and management skills if it wants to maintain or grow. It also acts extremely obsequiously, bending and bowing and not wanting to, but when it comes across any sort of manifestation of the Pale King, because the Pale King was a Kekire, started off as nothing, and now is the Pale King, and the King in Crimson just finds itself because of that, because it started from nothing and went up and has the potential to be so much more. It doesn't want to bow, but it finds itself doing that. It doesn't want to get down and show obsequiousness, but it finds itself doing that because of the Pale King's potential. Now, the Pale King itself, as I said, just a Kekire, who instead of extending power upward is extending power laterally. Now, what do I mean by that? If you think of a hospital setting, who's really the most powerful beings in the hospital setting? Sure, there's the administrators. People like that. They've used their power to grow up this direction. But if you want to get something done in a hospital, there are people that you talk to and there are people you don't piss off. Doctors really don't fear nurses, but they will fear nurses because a nurse knows how to do it. They have lateral power. Don't piss off a nurse if you're a doctor. You will regret it. And all the other doctors there will largely just turn their heads away from the bloodshed as it happens, because if you piss off a nurse to the point that that happens, you deserve what's happening. So it's the lateral power instead of the upwards power. They become very powerful in their fields, they couldn't go mano a mano against a bear. But in any other situation, that bear is toast. Let it get distracted, it's gone. Let it not know that it's there, that you were there, it's gone. So you can get your power, and that's where it is. But the Pale King, it's a good key, Ray. It's a asexual being, appears asexual, appears genderless, looks young and old at the same time, and for whatever reason, beings of power are not like us. Once they step up and become Kikire, they have extra senses that we don't have, and they have extra brain structures to process the extra information they get from their senses, and they have extra brain structures that grow so that they can wield the power that they're getting. They are not strictly human anymore if they started off as a variant of human. You're growing, you're different, your brain is physically changing. And yet, with these beings who every aspect of everything they do is done selfishly, for their own selfish reasons and needs and wants. So the Pale King is in charge of the domain of the Pale King inside. At the same time, for whatever reason, the Pale King's desires and wants seem to be to maintain his people, and not only maintain them, but continue to raise up their standards of living so that no one is downtrodden and everyone is on a level playing field. And he hopes, well, I say he because, again, my English speaking upbringing, I've been an English speaker my whole life, and unfortunately it defaults to he, as they understand about themselves, they only have a limited attention span. Eventually it's going to get bored and want to go off. They are going to get bored and want to go off and do something else. But for the approximately 30,000 years that they're going to be able to keep their attention here, it's pleasing them to, well, it pleases them, makes them happy, fits their goals to raise their people up, to be the best ruler that they can possibly be, or at least that's how it seems. So everything is good that way. Who knows what the eventual goals are? I'm 3 + 1, three-dimensional creature, so excuse me. I don't know why my vocal cords do that. So I don't understand them. I never will. I can't. But it's fun to play around with all of these thoughts. And of course, real quick, I've mentioned the Transcended in the Valley of Tenasket, where if you stare at the moon, you transcend. And human beings really feared that, and so they try to stop the Transcended, because when you transcend, you're at a big energy deficit, and you need to fill up the deficit, and you need to power up so you can fly to the moon and pass out into the universe. You need energy. Meat is filled with energy. Human beings meet these beings at their worst as rampageous, mindless eating machines, because they can eat like 25, 30, 40 people. They digest very quickly. But if they're such amazing beings with such amazing minds, how can they justify that? Well, again, it is quickly, they are basically mindless, rampaging eating machines at that time, because they need to fill up their tanks. They really, a lot, much. But I like to think about these beings talking to me or talking to other beings to explain what they feel about things. And I figure one of these things would say, like, do I feel bad about killing these beings and filling my belly with their meat? No, not at all. I used to be one of those. They're barely conscious. They're not even really sentient. They're hardly self-aware. I do them no disservice by ending their lives and filling my belly with their meat. I don't feel bad about that. Why would I? I'm helping them. And that's the view of the Transcended. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I have far less than the 25 people I used to be able to thank for leaving me comments. Generally, I get around 10, but 10 is better than 0. So thank you, each and every one of you that do leave me a comment. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language with my depression, fibro, which brings fibro fog, ADHD, depression, grief, a whole bunch of stuff. My memory is horrible, getting better, but I'm going to hit a functional limit one day. One day. So we have Ice Damon, thank you very much. Mr. Panda sucks. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Panda, but thank you very much. Joe Bro, greatly appreciated. Ben B, thumbs up and thank you. We have The Progressive Boomer, thumbs up and thank you. Nando Rice Cheruti, good to see you in the comments. We have Anime Fan, thumbs up and thank you. There's Jordan XCX, thumbs up, that was hard to say. There is Johnny K, greatly appreciated. Used Kool-Aid, I like the name. Thank you all so very much, all 10 of you. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, and that is appreciated to no end. Thumbs up and thank you. And with my hands in the air, I have no idea what device you're watching this on, so I have no idea what the video description for the video is. But inside of that, I have links to all my various channels. If you could check that out, that would be cool. I also have links to my Twitter, Patreon, Facebook, and if you could become a patreon.com patron, I said that all out of order, so I'm laughing at myself, that would be very cool. Thank you so much. I really mean it, that these people keep a roof over my head, food in my belly, and my pets alive. Thank you so very much. It is appreciated. And if you could become a patreon.com patron, that would be greatly appreciated. But if you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have a PayPal link, and I'm not above just begging for any sort of spare cash you have. I am desperate. It is not pretty. If you'd like to help me out without sending money, I do have an Amazon wishlist link, so if you could click that, that would be cool. Hopefully, I finally got it updated with cat food, and that would be good. Definitely a thumbs up. Now, of course, do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled, and if you cannot or simply do not donate, I do take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart, where I draw interest. There we are. I forgot where I was. Yeah. And of course, if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation you get from my existence. And if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. See, I mean, I get lost. Oy vey. Gotta love that. And I'm no hyper vlogger, so I leave all that stuff in. Thumbs up for that. Please remember to seek creativity. You do not need to monetize your passions. Be creative for yourself. If you wish to monetize your passions, please do, but it is not required. Seek positivity. Being negative really only hurts you and others around you. And of course, seek balance in all things. Good and bad in life are valid human experiences. So if you just avoid one entirely, you are crippling yourself, and that's not fun. So, with the covfefe bug still raging out there, if you don't have to go out amongst others, please don't. If you do, maintain your social distancing, wear a mask, wash your hands often, try not to touch your face, get vaxxed if you're not. If you have been vaxxed and you haven't gotten one yet, get your booster if it's available. Be smart, get through this. Hokey smokes. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that, my friend, is a very good thing.